So you've seen how data can be used to create a model of a car. Web browsers create similar models of the web pages that they are showing and of the browser window that the page is being shown in. Here you see a web page open with a browser on my screen. The browser represents each window or tab using a window object. The location property of the window object is going to tell you the URL of the current page. Now, when a current web page is loaded into each window, it's modeled using the document object. The title property of the document object tells you what's between the opening title and the closing title tag for a web page. Similarly, the document object is going to tell you what's between the opening and closing p tag for that particular web page, and so on and so forth. The last modified property of the document object tells you the date that this page was last updated. The document object represents an HTML page. Using the document object, you can access and change what content users see on the page and respond to how they interact with it. Like other objects that represent real-world things, the document object has properties which describe characteristics of the current web page, such as the title of the web page. It has methods, which perform tasks associated with the document currently loaded in the browser, such as getting information from a specified element or adding new content to the page. And then events, and you can respond to events such as the user clicking or hovering on an element. Because all major browsers implement the document object in the same way, the people who create the browsers have already implemented properties that you can access to find out about the current page in the browser, and also written methods that achieve some common tasks that you are likely to want to do with an HTML page. So, you're going to be learning how to work with this object. In fact, the document object is just one of a set of objects that all major browsers support. When the browser creates a model of a web page, it not only creates the document object, but it also creates a new object for each element on the page. Together, these objects are described in the document object model, which we'll talk about a little bit later on in this course. In order for you to fully understand how you can change the content of an HTML page using JavaScript, you need to know how the browser interprets the HTML code and applies styling to it. So here, I just have a simple example. The first thing that happens is that the browser receives a page as HTML code. Each page on a website can be seen as a separate document. So the web consists of many sites, each made up of one or more documents. The second thing that happens is it creates a model of the page and stores it in memory. This model is a representation of one very basic page. Its structure is reminiscent of a family tree. At the top of the model is the document object, which represents the whole document. Beneath the document object, each box is called a node. Each of these nodes is another separate object. This example features three types of nodes representing elements, text within the elements, and attribute. Finally, the browser uses a rendering engine to show the page on the screen. If there's no CSS, the rendering engine is going to apply the default browser styles to the HTML elements. However, the HTML code for this example links out to a style sheet so that the browser requests that file and displays the page accordingly. When the browser receives CSS rules, the rendering engine processes them and applies each rule to its corresponding element. This is how the browser positions the elements in the correct place, applies the correct colors, the correct font family, font style, and so on and so forth. All major browsers use a JavaScript interpreter to translate your instructions into instructions that the computer can follow. When you use JavaScript in a browser, there's a part of the browser that's called an interpreter or scripting engine. The interpreter takes your instructions in JavaScript and translates them into instructions that the browser can use to achieve the tasks that you want to perform. In an interpreted program language, like JavaScript, each line of code is translated one by one as the script is run. Web browsers use HTML markup to create a model of the web page. Each element creates its own node, which is a kind of object. To make web pages interactive, you write code that uses the browser's model of the web page.